Howdy folks, Oldmagick here, and it's another story time. This is a memory that just bubbled up this morning, something I haven't thought about in a while. So back when I was a preteen, I think I was in middle school, um, I went to a very small carnival. In fact, I don't think they ever came back in town. It was just a very small, it had like 3 rides, 5 games, and they set up in a elementary school parking lot. It was just a really small, it was out in the middle of nowhere too. It's kind of where I'm from. It's like in the Blue Ridge area, and there's nothing out there. It was on a back road. It just popped up overnight. And oh Lord, I think this back in the 90s. And I went there with a friend at the time. My mom dropped me off, and he lived across the street from the school, so he just walked over, and we played the few games that they had and got on the really sketchy rides. They're held together with super glue, rubber bands, an old tire, and a prayer. But it was fun. I remember having fun. I could even remember what I was wearing. This is my pre-goth days, so I looked kind of nerdy. I had glasses, but I was wearing all corduroy. I had a corduroy jacket. I had corduroy pants. Good times, good memories. Anyway, so the main part of this story is a mixture between good wisdom and also stranger danger. At a carnival, you have the folks that run it. They live in campers or these little trailers, and they had like 5 of these little campers set up in the parking lot that kind of encircled the fair, the carnival. And I was walking, and there was a woman that was seated. She was a bit overweight, but she was seated in like a little chair outside of her camper. She obviously worked there at this carnival. She was a road carny. And, a bit overweight. She had staff. I've never forgotten the staff. It was this beautiful piece of oak that had been carved. It had snakes and stuff and feathers on it, and very witchy. And this is back in my early magical days. So I was at that time a very happy, clappy, proud Wiccan. And I think I was wearing a pinnacle. I think I had my original pinnacle on me at the time. But she called me out when I walked by, this stranger. And she asked me about the pinnacle, and, I told her, I was like, well, I'm Wiccan, and she was, oh, wow, it's witchcraft, and blah, blah. And she started telling me that she also was a witch, and she was giving me some advice. She read for me. She looked at my aura. So, as far as I know, she did. But she kind of gave me a ring. She goes, you're going to be famous one day. And she kind of like pointed at my country bunk friend and was like, you need to get to know him well, because he has this aura about him. He's going to be famous one day, which now in hindsight, I kind of think back to that and I go, I don't know how she would even get that for me then. I'm wearing all corduroy, I have Harry Potter glasses, and I am a dork. But that's what she said. She was flattering me. And even at that age, I always kind of took, when someone flatters you, even in a psychic reading, I always get suspicious. It's like, what? But she even tried to tell me that I had a gift of, like, I had some type of clairvoyant powers, which I still don't think I do. I think I have, like, the flicker on and off switch, but I don't think I have, like, a clairvoyant switch that pops on purpose. It just, I have to work for it. Not famous, you know, not famous. So that none of that really happened yet. But the piece of advice that really stuck with me throughout my years of study is, she said, her exact words, "Let me give you some really good advice. Pay attention to your spine. Your spine is like an antenna, and it will signal. It will tell you things before they happen." I had no idea what the hell she was talking about at all. I mean, I understood a little bit about clairvoyance and psychic stuff, and you know, I was still learning as a practitioner, but later in years, like up to today, with what I understand with anatomy, the chemistry of how our brains are interconnected with our spine, and the parasympathetic nervous and the autonomic nervous system, she wasn't wrong about that comment. In fact, it was a really good piece of advice from a stranger. Now, this is where the stranger danger comes in, because she did invite me back. I asked her, you know, how long I was going to be here. She goes, "Oh, well, this is the only night we're doing, and we're leaving out early in the morning." I said, "Oh, okay." She goes, "But I have some books. I have some material that I think you will need. If you'll just come back when we close and just knock on my door, I'll give them to you." And I didn't go back. I didn't go back. And I guess I was thinking about this more. I was like, you know, my spine, she wasn't wrong. My spine was letting me know, stranger danger, something's weird. I'm not sure, you know. Or maybe my spine was wrong. Maybe she was legit. She meant well. She was just trying to help a young man out. But not sure. I'll never know. Maybe if I would have went back and tapped on that door, she would have invited me in. She would have had like 5 black cats, and she would have handed me an old magical tomb and blew dust off of it and handed it to me, and maybe I would have jump-started everything I've worked so hard for. Or maybe not. Maybe that's not what was in there. Maybe that's not the dust that she would have been blowing off. Maybe that's not what it was. I don't know. I'll never know. But her advice on the spine I thought was interesting, and it just kind of popped up in my head this morning. So I wanted to share that with you. And I guess the one last thing I want to say is, I think it bubbled up in my memory because that sounds like one of those, like how a magical novel starts, right? You meet a mysterious magical person, and they take you in like Merlin to author, and it's just, in this case, there was a little bit of stranger danger. I'm happy that I had that experience. It was very mystical to me then, and it's still a little mystical to me now, even though I still wonder what would have happened if or maybe I don't want to know. Have a good day.